So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And welcome, I suppose, because we haven't been here in a while. I think that's that's probably an understatement. And I've taken a bit of a break. I was away with the family there for the last couple of days in the edge of Ireland, and got to see the games. But I think it's important that we do have a small bit of a chat, I suppose, really about the US tour. If for no other reason, Paddy, that I haven't spoken to you face to face in about 10 days. So how have you been keeping?
Well, not too bad. Been busy. Trying to keep my mind off football. It hasn't been the easiest summer to keep my mind off football, to be honest. Been sidetracked a little bit by my Irish team's travails in Europe. So kept me a little bit busy outside of not having Villa on the horizon, but they're well and truly on the horizon now. And I'm not going to say I'm 100% looking forward to the season ahead. I think that would be an overstatement. So still a little bit down on everything that's happened. Still a little bit down on how everything is going. But I've trusted him this length of time. I will show even more trust in him to compete with what he has, should we not bring in anybody, and I'm sure we're going to get to that. But decent workout in America. Three games that could have went either way. Not worried about the scoreline, worried about the minutes in the legs. That's what it was all about. That old cliche, but that is the truth. That's what pre-season is for. I can see it ramping up over the next 7 days. We've game Wednesday, game Saturday, game Sunday. And then we'll probably Tuesday or Wednesday the following week have a behind closed doors one, which is the norm for that time of year. So, 3 decent teams, 3 European teams, Roma, Marseille, Villarreal on the horizon. And by this time next week, when we sit down, or probably sit down after the Villarreal game, and we can worry about how things are then, I think.
Yeah. I suppose really just on the US tour, mission accomplished is the way I would describe it. Came back with no injuries. Came back with some very good highlights, I'm going to say, and I'm going to throw them out to you in a moment, because I think a couple of players have really stepped up out in the US. But it's hard really to gauge anything, because it's been 45 minutes on, 45 minutes off, and as you said, it's minutes in the legs. It's a bit it's a bit discombobulated at times, specifically after halftime. Games have gotten shite, to be honest. Like last night's game, yes, okay, Malin's goal aside, like the second half, I could dip in and out of it and not miss much. The same thing with the St. Louis game, and so like Frankfurt, probably the two halves were probably better from an engagement point of view. But yeah, look, we got what we wanted. The first essentially, the first 45 minutes seemed a lot more structured. They seemed a lot more scripted. It seemed very good. Like there was some nice football on show. Second half, then with changes to both teams, we saw things like defending just completely go awry. We've obviously got a new keeper that's trying to work his way in there. But look, mission accomplished. No injuries. No injuries was the big one for me. No even kind of soft tissue injuries really that we've picked up out there. And
apart from the two guys that stayed at home, I suppose they're the only injuries that we're carrying. That being Garcia and Ross Barkley. But it did look like everybody came through it unscathed. Couple of plus points. Malin looks really sharp. Watkins, very good goal last night. Bizot looks like he could be very much able and ready to step in if needed. So I'm not overly concerned. Although I would love more and more players to come in And look, we will have a couple more in. I'm sure of that. But there's a couple of teams playing hardball, I think, on the ones we want to get out. And we're right not to roll over and have our bellies tickled with them. If somebody wants them, let them come and pay the market value for them.
One of the big highlights for me, Paddy, well, one player in particular, and I think he's really like this is what we all want. We want a player to go and take the opportunity it's been given. And you mentioned there that players have stayed at home, and Tristan Rowe found his way on the plane, and he's gone out there and played it right back. And I thought in all of the games he was really solid. I thought he was I thought he looked up to the standard of MLS. No, look, we know that's not Premier League standard. But I thought that he looked really, really solid. Is he the finished article? No, he's not. But he looked like he was one of these guys, and this is good to have. I think it's good to see in a player. He had embraced the kind of the change of moving to senior football from the point of view of moving into more central role at times, tucking in. You could see he was very diligent in that. He was looking to see where the centre halves were. I loved how he was always looking around him. There was one instance, I think, I'd say it could have been a match actually last night, because I'll be honest, both games, but both of the games kind of roll into one for me, where left back ghosted in behind him. But I think he was in a good position to kind of to defend the ball from that cross that came across. But I thought he was really solid. And we're in a situation where a lot of people are talking about we need a new right back, and potentially we will get a new right back. I've not heard anything different than they're looking for another right back at the moment. But it's good to see somebody like that take their chance. Obviously coming through with the team. So I was impressed with him, and I'm not just saying it because he was the young guy in the team essentially. I thought this isn't me being harsh on Jimo Aloba. This isn't me being harsh on him at all. But I thought the game was a bit faster for him. He found the game fast going on around him, probably due to the position that he played and having to have his back to goal and stuff like that. Again, he's transitioning into playing senior football as well, but he got a lot of minutes there. So can these guys build on this? Obviously, I would imagine Jimo Aloba is going to be loaned out to a pretty decent level this year. And we'd probably see that for Travis Patterson as well. But Tristan Rowe, I was impressed with it, and I'd like to keep him around. I thought Leon Bailey looks like he's a bit more of a skip in his step. Does he look like the Bailey of the one good year that he had? No. But I still think that if the club don't get the money they want for him, that he may be somebody staying around. But I am going to come to somebody where I thought I would see a small bit more spark from him. And I probably might be a bit harsh on this one too. But I didn't really see it. I saw a lot of running around after the ball and chasing players down and stuff. I didn't really see an awful lot from Mbí Buendia. That was a bit disappointing. So I thought I might see something from him. And it might be somebody we already have in the team that may negate the fact that we would have to go and buy a 10 to come in and play that position. Now, obviously, once again, you're doing double sessions over in the States, and he's coming back into this setup after not being there for 6 months previously, and obviously being injured prior to that. So I know I'm singling him out. I'm not saying that he's a lost cause or anything like that, but the type of guy he is, I wanted to see more from him in those games. What do you think, Paddy? Am I being harsh on him with regards to that, or?
No, I don't think you're being harsh. The one thing I will say is I don't believe the system we play suits Mbí Buendia. That's just my opinion. He needs to play a little bit deeper than what he's used to, and I think that hurts him a little bit. And he just seems to be running a lot more than he's used to, and that may or may not suit him. To some people, that mightn't make a whole lot of sense. I see Mbí Buendia as somebody who sits behind the striker with enough midfielders behind him to cover, but he's expected to do all that work as well. So I don't believe he fits into the system, and I think if the right offer comes in, he goes. I think if the right offer doesn't come in, he goes on loan. I think that's how it works. Leon Bailey, I believe, is in the shop window. I think he has to go. I don't think we'll ever see the performances we saw of the season before last, let's say.
23, 24.
I just can't see how he gets back to that level. I hope he does. Don't get me wrong, we're struggling in the finance department. So if we didn't have to replace him and he did for some miraculous reason go back to what he was in that season, I'd happily have him. I just can't see him doing it from my point of view. But they're the two people I alluded to that were potentially on their way out, but their asking price wasn't matched. And look, it is what it is. We got to trust how it is. I do believe, as I said, Buendia would go out on loan. I think if Bailey's not matched, I don't think a loan is an option there. I think we hang on to him. I think we see what we can get out of him. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens towards the end of the transfer window. Will both of them, or either of them, start on the opening day against Newcastle? Possibly Bailey on that right-hand side. Possibly. But we'll just have to wait and see what he decides.
I don't see Bailey. I don't see Bailey starting. I see Morgan. I see a similar meltdown to Morgan Rogers being on the right-hand side, and or even McGinn starting in that right-hand side. I'm just not like I'm still not seeing enough Morgan Rogers. Yeah, well, in fairness, we have seen him mostly down the middle. We have seen him mostly down the middle in this. In this, it's actually been difficult to see, because in some games it was almost as if Buendia was pushed up top with Watkins as a front two, which is different. And yes, if Rogers was coming in from the right hand side, he was still a bit more central as well. So I think we were kind of giving ourselves an awful lot of leeway to be a bit more kind of flexible positionally from that point of view. But yeah, again, look, as we know, we all want him to play down the middle. But you know, I know the reason why Unai probably was moving him out to the right hand side. We don't need to go through that. Do we agree with it? Probably not, because we've seen his better performances through the middle or from the left. I myself am probably coming in on the side of, I nearly want to see him on the left maybe a small bit more, because teams will just pack up the middle of midfield. But we saw teams do that, especially in the Champions League this year against Morgan Rogers, and he flourished. So second big season syndrome for him. You know, playing him on the left, playing him on the in the middle. I think we might see a bit of fluctuation as to him not always starting through the middle, and maybe starting off from one of the flanks at some stage as well. But another man who's gotten to the goals early, and you mentioned Ollie Watkins gotten into the goals early. Yeah, that he missed that one where he curled past the post. I'm not too worried about the one that he missed for the rebound and the header, but the one that he curled past the post. You know, they're the ones that go in for a Harry Kane, or to go in for a Son, who looks like he's going to be playing his football in the US now, or go in for a Mo Salah, you know. So that's the one I would love to see, that one hit the back of the neck, because we would have gone, great. Like to see those happening, no matter what the level of opposition they are. But the header was absolutely brilliant. The movement was really good from him, and I'm excited. Like, as I say, I'm always going to be excited about Ollie Watkins up top, and
I thought his header just before it was even better. The one that was
better,
saved. You know, to stoop that last second when he realised the defender's not getting a touch to head it on target. You know, he does look sharp. Hopefully, he hits the ground running from the start, because I think we can all agree we're going to need it. We are definitely going to need it this season. It's going to be a slog. And we need a firing Ollie Watkins above everything else on the pitch, and a solid defensive structure, which I'm not particularly worried about. But if we can get those six defensive positions right from the start and have them up to speed, we're not going to make any further changes in that department by the looks of it. Yeah. So if it's Torres, if it's Mings, if it's Konza, it's Cash, Dean, Matson, plus the two boys sitting in front. Once we get that right, we know that Rodgers is going to bring something. We know that we'll potentially have Asensio back in the fray. He will definitely bring something. And who knows, if we get Ollie Watkins firing from the start, maybe we are pushing up, and maybe we are talking about a better position than last season.
Another person actually that I neglected to kind of shout out was Lamar Bogart. Thought he had a really good tour. Playing at that right-sided centre-back role, he just looked like he was more. How would I say that? You know, he was more comfortable with senior football. And look, you know, being that Swiss Army knife, they can play right back, central midfield, centre half. Like, is he going to be the starting right-sided centre-back? No, he's not. Are Villa finished in that department? I don't know. I think that they'll be opportunistic if something comes up to sign a player in as a right-sided centre half. They will do it. I still haven't kind of given up hope that they might sign Jan Bissek. But because I think that Inter are going to want. I think the Italian market there's a second push in the transfer market there. Vlahovic needs to go somewhere. Milan are going to want to get busy after a poor enough season last year. Roma have gotten Evan Ferguson in. Roma have done a bit of business. Roma are going to need to leave bodies out. Does Matthias Sule come here? I've got another bit of work done on him since he's been linked, albeit I think spurious enough. But I think that that there could still be some movement there, and I think Villa will be opportunistic. But I think what they're doing is they're not going to be looking for the Rashford signing this year in this window. They're not going to be looking to go out and do an Onana signing where they're going to have to potentially pay over the odds to get a player that they really wanted in, or for Maatsen as well. I thought at the time for 35 million that that it was a lot of money to pay for a player coming from Dortmund in that position that was on loan from Chelsea, and obviously we had to do it because of PSR, and he's going to be somebody who's going to have a big season this year. So I think there's going to be opportunism. But Lamar Bogart, if there isn't, what I'm getting at here is Lamar Bogart is growing. Like, he's growing as a player. And I was impressed with his composure. I was impressed with how good he was with kind of carrying that ball out of defense, passing that ball around. He's not the biggest guy either, but he was able to, you can tell he's probably been handcuffed to Ezri Konsa for a while in the off season, because he kind of had that same movement kind of fluidity as Konsa did. And was Konsa his best in the US? Once again, I don't think the established defenders were there to get minutes in their legs. They were there to, not get injured essentially an awful lot. Yeah. But it was the younger guys I was looking at to see where they stepped.
We didn't need people to be at their best, to be honest. We needed people to get through these games. We needed the minutes for everybody, be those the 45s or last night the ones that stayed on a little bit longer. I'm absolutely fine with the levels that we're at. But we will need to push on now over the next couple of weeks and take it up to the level that we're going to be met with on the 16th of August, that I'm genuinely not looking forward to. But it's only 15 days away now, so 13 days away now. So we've a lot of work to do in those 13 days, and we've got a big carrot at the end of that, ready for whoever is going to step in and start on that opening day.
Absolutely. Yeah, we kind of actually, guys, before we go any further, I don't usually play advertisements on this podcast, but as I said to you before, from time to time when we get asked will we run some ads, because we're looking to do a project. I know we keep on teasing this project, but it does cost a hell of a lot of money to try and do this thing that we're looking to, and we may never get off the ground, but there's only one way to pay the bills with regards to it if we do get it, and that is to do some bit of advertising. So basically for the next couple of weeks, NordVPN have come on board with us and are running a promotional offer as well. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm just going to play a small advertisement for NordVPN, and we'll be back in about a minute's time. And then we're going to talk a small bit more about transfers and about the state of transfers, I suppose, within the Premier League itself. So back in one moment while we listen to this from our sponsors today of NordVPN. Hey everyone, today's show is sponsored by NordVPN, the VPN service that's got your back online. It's the Boubacar Kamara of VPNs. In this digital world, your privacy is under constant attack. Hackers, trackers, and nosy ISPs trying to intercept your data. But with NordVPN, you can encrypt your connection, hide your IP, and browse securely from anywhere. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, working on public Wi-Fi, or accessing content from abroad, NordVPN's lightning-fast servers ensure no buffering or slowdowns. Plus, for us football fans, it's perfect for catching those Premier League matches that aren't broadcast in your region. So switch servers and you're in. I've been using NordVPN for months, and it's a game changer for peace of mind. Right now, grab their exclusive deal. Head to nordvpn.com/FTLoPM to get a huge discount on their 2-year plans. Over 70% off when you sign up at nordvpn.com/FTLoPM. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. Villa fans, don't get caught offside online. Secure your win with NordVPN today. And the link for NordVPN is in the bio. And yes, I did come up with those dad joke football puns myself. So all complaints to Paddy at fortheloveofpaulmcgrath gmail.com. That's right.
Neil, never apologize for us having a sponsor. Everybody knows we need to keep the wood from the door and pay the bills. So if you are in the market for a VPN, please do think of us and use our code, because every little helps, as a supermarket tells us every day on their advertisements. So exactly. Yes, use NordVPN, use our code, help the podcast, help keep us on air. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, and the link is in the bio there as well if you guys are interested in that as well. I think we had a good uptake actually last time we run one of these. So yeah, as I said, before the season starts, if you guys want to click on that, it would be great. Anyway, getting through the transfers, Paddy, and maybe Monchi has a very, very high-tech VPN system, and maybe those offers come in for some of those players, and the VPN system has been knocking it back because it thinks that they're phishing attempts on Monchi's email address or something like that. But yeah, so look, I suppose, Paddy, look, it's no secret to anybody that's watching this podcast that I love a good transfer. It's been a bit stale this off season. Haven't had the links even that we wanted to have for players. And like usually in years gone past, I've done 30 podcasts in 30 days sometimes, just because of the fruitfulness of the transfer market and how active we've been. But not this year. And I suppose there was always going to be a correction to the mean. Like we've had 6 years of absolute bangers of transfer windows and roller coaster transfer windows since we got promoted again. But it's not really looking like this one is going to be like that too. But Paddy, outside, I suppose, of the Premier League this year, I quoted you beforehand. The Premier League has bought 2 billion worth of players. So I read a tweet today. No, I haven't gone and fecking added it up, but let me know if that is wrong. We've not really been active in it at all. We've bought Aston Ozcan for 7 million, and we have sold Ken Kessler-Hayden, and we have a 3 million loan fee for Ken Kessler-Hayden, 4 million. We have a 3 million loan fee for Enzo Barnechea. So we're breaking even at the moment. Looking at the transfer market, a lot of other football clubs within the Premier League are kind of breaking even at the moment as well, outside of the promoted teams and obviously Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Spurs. Is there I'm expecting a second kick in the market, but is there any team outside, I suppose, really of Liverpool and probably Chelsea and Arsenal maybe? Is there any club outside of those that you're jealous of their business? And I'm not saying I'm jealous of this team because they've signed somebody, and we haven't. But is there anyone that you're kind of going, Jesus, they've got 2 players there that I really love?
I'm not jealous of anybody. I'm angry at other people's business, and I'm angry at other people's business because they managed to get a head start on this sustainability road long before we did, and as a result, it's basically non-competitive league. We can't break into the top 4. We can't break into the big money players without breaking the rules. And I'm not going to go down that road again because I've done it ad nauseum at this stage. But I'm genuinely not. I'm not jealous of anybody. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that we're not further along in our road. I'm annoyed we didn't get Champions League football, which would have really, really helped us along that road. And as a result, that's why I'm sitting here a lot more deflated than I should be going into a European season with Villa playing European football. And I make zero apologies for that. It is just the league is non-competitive. They've done absolutely nothing to rectify that. They've done nothing to help the teams above. The UEFA haven't done anything to help the teams below either. It's basically they have who they want at the top. And how do we keep them at the top? We keep these unsustainable rules there, which are non-competitive, and we can't break into it without a miracle happening. So I'm broken from it, but I'm praying for miracles. And I'll go back to quoting, and it's the one thing that's kept me going throughout this summer, is that Unai Emery said, he would be more than happy to go into next season with the team that he has at his disposal from last season. That is probably going to be the case at this stage. I really don't see where anybody else comes in unless others go out. And that is the way we have to run our club because of these unfair rules that are in place that favour the people who absolutely destroyed the market over the last 20 years. And guess what? They're being rewarded for it because that's who the Premier League wants at the top table. That's who Sky Sport want at the top table because they are the big cohort of fans that are paying for subscriptions and everything else that comes along with the Premier League. So it's tough. It's a tough one to swallow, but it's the way it is. I'll always be a Villa fan no matter what, but it's becoming really, really difficult. I found it very hard to justify my season ticket this year. I've paid it. I'm worried that this is my last season because of it, but we'll just have to wait and see. But it's become unsustainable because of how the prices have gone up. And the prices have gone up because they have to charge us because they need more money in the door. And while the rest of them can blatantly do whatever they bloody like and walk away scot-free. And that's the hardest part of anything. But I'm absolutely not jealous of anybody, no other football club, because it's nothing to be jealous of. It's just we're a victim of circumstances here, and we just have to put up or shut up. And for as long as I'm here, I won't shut up. I'll give out about it because we should give out about it, and I think it's important that we give out about it because they shouldn't get away with it. I don't know what we do for to show our disdain for what's going on. I don't know how we prove that point. I don't know how we get the message across because they really don't give a shit about Aston Villa. They don't give a shit about Newcastle. It probably kills them that Newcastle are in that Champions League spot. But somebody had to do it with Man United looking down at the bottom of the league. So it is what it is. We'll soldier on. But yeah, there's a lot of hurt there from me. And I think it would have been a whole lot different if we'd have got Champions League football. But we all know why that didn't happen. We weren't good enough last year. Plus, we were robbed by an asshole with a whistle on the final day. So I'm not crying over it anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm annoyed. And it's ruined my summer. But I'm still a Villa fan. I'll still be there as many times as I possibly can this season. But it doesn't make it any easier knowing that we were just so close to breaking into this. I hate to use the word cartel, but that's how it feels. It feels like there's no way of breaking into this. But hopefully the brains trust behind what we have aces up their sleeve. I mentioned on the last podcast I was waiting on a spark to come to spark me into life. I did have a spark. That spark came in the form of a contract for Boubacar Kamara, which I think is a good statement of intent. They've obviously sold their ideas of what they're going to do going forward to Boubacar, and he seems to have bought into it. So fingers crossed that is the case and there are aces up the sleeve. I just don't know what those aces are and I can't see where they're coming from. But you have a lot of successful businessmen there with a lot of people at their disposal to help out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with in the next 13 days and onwards of the following 2 weeks until the end of the transfer window. Because we've a month to go. It's not dead in the water, but it's definitely in the history of this club, the future history of this club. It's an important month, and all we can do is hope for the best and hope that those guys who we've put all our trust in can go and come up with an ace up their sleeve to really put this put us back in contention for Champions League at least next year.
Yeah, sorry, I was making some faces there in case anybody was wondering. I was losing some of Paddy's audio, and I don't know if you guys can hear me because
probably just as well.
Blank on my screen. No, I could hear you, but it was like as if there was water running in my headphones at the time. So apologies in case anybody was wondering, was I making faces? I just couldn't hear or see anything. Is there shite? Are we still going? But yeah, so I agree with pretty much everything you said there, Paddy, except for the point that actually, do you know what, guys? I might just turn off the comments in the screen because I think that might have something to do with it. Apologies, just we will read out your comments when we get to them. But look, do you know what I'll do? I'll talk about it while I'm sharing this in the screen, Paddy. And the reason I'll do that is this could either make or break my my internet connection.
I need to strip here for a second, so I'm just going to turn off my camera while you're talking.
That's Paddy's OnlyFans. He's streaming on OnlyFans at the moment as well, and you can sub to him if you wish, if that is your thing. But yes, look, I wasn't too far wrong. So arrivals, there's been 249 arrivals in the Premier League this year. There's been 2 billion spent. The income then that's been brought from sales out is 1 billion this year. Now that takes into account unreported transfer fees and stuff like that as well. But it's mad money. It's absolutely mad money. But like looking down through some of the teams here, and the reason I wanted to say this is, like Arsenal have done some pretty decent business this year. Like they needed to get a centre forward, and they have. I don't know what they're going to do with somebody like Gabriel Jesus there now and Kai Havertz. So they won't be able to carry 3 forwards. So we're probably looking at them selling players there as well. But Madueke, once again, I think is a luxury for them, but a luxury that they can well afford to have and probably need to have because when Saka gets injured for them, they just kind of go straight down the toilet at times. And Christian Norgard is going to be there under the radar. Brilliant signing. Just like, wow, like he's always been good in the Premier League since he's been here. So some decent signings in there. Not too many sales out, as you can see there. Look, they've only brought in 8 million in income, but their transfer record so far is they're minus 216 million euros based on their transfer activity so far. Now there is talks about Martinelli moving on as well. We'll see what happens there for them. In this off season, there we are ourselves. No transfer fee being quoted for Bizot there yet, but Özcan coming in first. As I say, Ken Kessler Hayden, Enzo Barnechea for 3 million. Getting those 2 players off our books. Don't know what the I suppose the termination agreement with Philippe Coutinho was at all, but whatever his wages were, and they were rumored, like once again, don't go by Capology because Capology is not it's not the gospel with regards to wages. In fact, it's wildly off in some instances. But a lot of people have said Philippe Coutinho was anywhere from like 100 to 200 grand a week, anywhere in between there. Throw a dart at the dartboard and you probably won't be too far off what his wages were. So once again, savings there. But as we see here, there's been no loan fee announced for Yashin Özcan. And I'm going to kind of park on him for a moment because his loan has pissed me off. And it's not often that I get to be in my bonnet over something. But that one really was a kick in the stones for me because I know he's a good defender and they know he's a good defender. And the big thing for me here is they've loaned him to Anderlecht, who have an option to buy. And we can call a spade a shovel here with regards to Anderlecht. They ain't spending 30 million on a centre half. So like you're talking probably about mid to late teens maximum is what the agreement for that is. And look, I know that Jacob Tanswell has done an article on it, and people have said to me as well, you need to change the way we're thinking with regards to these young players are coming in and they're being flipped for 5 or 6 million profit the year after. I don't think that's enough for this guy. I don't think that's enough for him. And if that is the case and we don't know what the fee is, then I'm a small bit pissed off with regards to that one, to be honest. And it just feels like that one was a bit deflating because he's somebody who's been raved about in Turkish football, really being raved about as the next centre half, next big centre half for them. And we seem like we're kind of just taking the real short-sighted view of, oh yeah, we'll flip him and like we'll buy this car, we'll respray it and we'll flip it for minimum money, And to me, we're better than that. And we move on to somebody like Bournemouth. I'll be honest with you. I think Bournemouth's inward signings have been like, I wouldn't be spending 30 million. Now, look, Georgia Petrovic had a good season last year, don't get me wrong. But we spent 18 million on Emi Martinez, who was sub goalkeeper for Arsenal. They spent 30 million on Georgia Petrovic. who had a brilliant season in France. I know he had a brilliant season in France, and he may turn out to be a really, really good goalkeeper. But 30 million is a lot of money, considering that people were saying that Martinez was worth 40 million. I just look, each to their own regards to that transfer window, but I think it's madness. Their transfer business out then is even more alarming for them. They've lost some really good players there. In Huysen and Kirkes, and they're probably not finished losing players there. I might as well keep going down through this list as it is, Paddy. Stop me if you want to talk about any of these teams as well, because I asked you, are you embarrassed or not embarrassed? Are you jealous of any team? And it's probably hard without having this list. Brentford, I think Brentford have, like, I would be very surprised if Keith Andrews turns out to be as good as Thomas Frank. That's all I'll say here. So
well, I'll stop you there, and I'd say if I was actually in a shop today, and there was a guy behind me, which is really unusual in Ireland, had a Brentford polo shirt on, and I said to him, "Are you excited for the new season?" He said, "We're going down." His words, not mine. Yeah. And it was hard not to agree with him. He is worried. He just can't see how Keith Andrews is going to get a tune out of this group of players. So it will be interesting to see what happens, but. At this moment in time, I'd be worried for them.
Are they? Am I right in saying that Keith Andrews is one of the most qualified coaches? Is it Keith Andrews or Kenny Cunningham that's got like badges out the wazoo?
Yeah, well, Keith Andrews is fully qualified. He's ready to go. Yeah. He has right up to all the levels you need to as he's got a Premier League manager's job, so he absolutely has to have them. It's not like he's a figurehead for someone else, or someone else is down as head coach, and he's pulling the shots behind the screen. Yeah, but he is the gaffer, and he's going to have to step up to the mark. I would just be worried for what they've let out of their squads, and very, very hard to replace names, and probably in one swoop to lose those names is going to make it really, really difficult.
How they got 10 million for Mark Flecken, I think, is the best bit of transfer business they've done this year. But I've just never been a Mark Flecken fan. Just never have.
I don't think they got enough for Norgard, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Well, he's 31 now, but still, we've seen 31-year-old players go to Chelsea or be sold by Chelsea for 3 times that amount of money. Whatever you do not go back and look at Chelsea's the amount of money they've sold players for over the last 4 seasons. You'll put yourself in a bad mood, because they've sold some right fucking munters for lots and lots of money, and it boils my piss.
That's not a word I was expecting to hear from you today.
Brighton again, of course, have bought every good football manager player going. Diego Coppola could have been at Aston Villa. I do know for a fact that they were interested in him, but he felt that sitting behind guys at Villa wasn't something he wanted to do when he was breaking into the Italian team, and he will get a game because they still have more outgoings to go within their team. They brought in Boscagli as well. Really, really great numbers for last year in the Eredivisie. Free transfers, brilliant business for them there. And new left back, and then 2 young fellas. Of course, they had to replace the young 18-year-old striker with another prodigious young 18-year-old striker, except they had to pay 35 million for him this time, as opposed to the 4 million was it they paid Bose for Evan Ferguson. I think it was about that. Yeah. So they really did good there. But look, they've lost João Pedro, they've lost Adingra, they've lost Purvis Espitinian, and they've look, as I say, Ferguson is gone as well. So they've had a bit of open heart surgery there as well within their team. And I wouldn't be surprised to see what's your man's name, Van Heck go as well. That centre half. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go if Newcastle can get the funds together for a striker. If they end up selling Alexander Isak, I think they'll just go Barney in the market altogether. And I think they're looking for a new centre half to come in and to take time off Fabian Schär. And if everything you read in the internet is true, well, then they want him. They want him to be the guy to come in there, so they could be missing out someone there. Burnley, I'm not even going to go through Burnley's guys here, because Burnley are doing what they did last time they came up. They are speculating to accumulate, I think, in a lot of instances there. Some of the players are pretty decent, but, None of those players, I think, will be coming to us as footballers. The big one for them then is obviously they knew they were getting rid of James Trafford. Have they replaced James Trafford? Did they buy a goalkeeper yet? Oh, they did. They bought the guy from Karlsruhe. Yeah, they did. They bought him, Vies from Karlsruhe. Chelsea, I'm just going to scroll on past Chelsea because we only put ourselves in bad form. Like, what the fuck is Jorel Hato doing? What is he doing going there? Like, I just, like, boggles my mind. Absolutely boggles my mind. But then when you see what they've sold some players for as well, boggles my mind too. But anyway, and there's the biggest case of football money laundering you will ever find is Strasbourg and Chelsea, which no one
How
else seems
many
to do.
to Strasbourg? I can see 40 million there at the bottom as well.
Which one?
So you've got a 10 million up the top, and you've got 20 million and a 10 million. And
No, sorry. They're the market values. These are the fees. The fees are the ones on the right hand side, the far right hand side there as well. And how they got 2.4 million off Man City for Marcus Bentinelli is beyond me. Like, I don't think we even paid 2.4 million for Marcus Pizzot. You know, I don't think we did. If we did, it can't have been much more than that either. So
we're correct in saying that they signed Bentinelli and James Trafford in this window, Man City.
Yeah. Ortega is going to go. Ortega has been told he can leave. And I wonder, will he go to Strasbourg for 50 million? Who knows? Crystal Palace need to. Oliver Glasner had a bit of a crack off the Crystal Palace management or board. Now I know that they couldn't splash the cash because they were selling up, and Woody Johnson has bought them. Any New York Jets fans will know all about Woody Johnson, and he was Donald Trump's envoy to the United Kingdom. Envoy / ambassador to United Kingdom previously as well. So he obviously knows the UK and will probably know Crystal Palace, but I would imagine he's going to come in here and want to splash the cash at some stage between now and the end of the transfer window. But they haven't done anything since. No, they haven't lost anybody since either, really, of note. So that is important too as well. Ben Chilwell obviously going back. I suppose that's the biggest name on that list there. Everton brought in the big man in Barry, made Carlos Alcaraz's deal permanent. Brought in a young, good left back from Bayern Munich. Brought in a really good second goalkeeper there, Mark Travers as well. They've done solid business, but I'd expect nothing less under David Moyes. Again, they haven't sold anybody of note really from their team, but they do need to sign more players. And I think that they will too. Fulham, scroll on by. Nothing going on in Fulham. Fulham are in the shadow of Chelsea. I won't say in the shadow because that makes them sound awful. But Fulham, they are being so close to Chelsea and looking at them splash the cash, and they're buying a 34-year-old goalkeeper for $500,000, and that's all they've really done. But they haven't lost anybody really either as well. Leeds United have blown the money on the land of the Giants. Not blown money. That makes it sound bad again. But they've signed a ton of lads there over 6'2", and they're going to try and bully everybody again, and more power to them. I think Leeds will be a surprise team this year again. I just do. Interesting signing there, and Lucas Amencha hasn't really hit the ground running for in Germany, but was an England under 21 international or England underage international. I think he moved to Germany at that stage. Getting him on a free transfer is a good punt for them. For sure, they haven't lost anybody either, other than, I suppose, Junior Firpo, but he went on a free transfer back to Betis. Liverpool, look, too many people talk about Liverpool. You guys know they're going to be absolutely brilliant. They're going to watch the league next year again. Man City there again once more. Good signing, okay signing, flash signing for the sake of it, signing that pissed me off. And absolutely signing, I have no idea why the hell he's even there. So that's really what Man City have done. And if anybody's listening back to this in the podcast version, Rinders, good signing. Ait Nouri, all right signing. Turkey is the flash signing. Trafford is the signing for the sake of it. And Svernipan is the one that annoyed me from there.
Just to piss us off.
Yeah, they've sold.
It had shades of Julian Alvarez, that one. Remember, we were linked with Julian Alvarez, and then they come in and gazumped us. They've done the exact same thing again with Noipan, and I hope Noipan ends up gone somewhere else the same way Julian Alvarez did. I don't have to look at his face.
Jan Couto, good right back that they've sold, and Maximo Perrone, another good defensive. Como, by the way, Everybody, look at Coma's transfer business. Coma are going to be the interesting team that you'll be flicking through on a Sunday night at 9 o'clock when all the matches are over and Italian football is still on. You go, oh, Coma are on. Brilliant. I'm going to watch these guys. Interesting business, and more power to them as well. United, we flick on past them as well. I think I think they overpaid for Mateus Cunha. And I've arguably you could say they overpaid for Mbeumo, but they're good players, but like anybody comes knocking on our door for Ollie Watkins, that's the number they should be quoted, regardless of if he's 30 next birthday, because I think he's he's worth that, and he's better than both of those players, to be honest with you. I think if you're going to play him up top as a central striker, and there should be a tax on that too. The big thing about United is they've sold no one. And they've some amount of people they need to get off their books. They do need to sell players. And they've sold nobody, namely this lad here, Anthony. And Marcus Rashford obviously going on loan and stuff like that. So Jadon Sancho gone back to Chelsea, but it's or Jadon Sancho come back to them from Chelsea, should I say. So they're going to need to get players out. Paddy, would you take Sancho? Would you take him on loan?
On loan, maybe, yeah. I wouldn't chance the asking fee at the moment, but yeah, I'd take him on loan.
I don't know whether I would or not. He definitely wouldn't be my top 5 players.
Than he did at Chelsea. I think you get more of an opportunity anyway.
Yeah, he wouldn't be my top 5 players.
I want to sign him. I'm saying if it was an option and it was on loan and it was good for the club, then I would take it.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, we've took nothing else at this stage, so
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, having a Jadon Sancho is better than having nobody as well at the same time. Now, if people do remember, I did posit the question previously before we signed Rashford, and even before we even linked with Marcus Rashford. Would you take Marcus Rashford? And it happened. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Now, talk to me, Paddy. Newcastle United, the business they've done. They keep on talking about, like, every single time you hear about Newcastle, like, I don't think we've been hamstrung up until this year, really. We've done some good business. We've done some wheeling, dealing, some buying. We've been active. Newcastle have kept their powder dry for a couple of years. Yes, they've had a couple of big signings in Guimaraes and Tonali and obviously Alexander Isak and Botman, those guys that have come into the club. Lewis Hall that they signed last year. Where do you sit on the Anthony Elanga for 61 million? Do you think it's an overpay or what? Or I was surprised they were willing to spend that amount of money on him.
Yeah, I understand the attraction. He's still very young. You can mold a really good player out of him, but it's a lot of money when he hasn't done it consistently. Yeah, I'd be worried about that one now, to be honest with you.
I'm not worried about it. Like, give me him. I'm
sorry, I'm not worried about it. If I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be worried about it.
Well, the reason, they need a right winger. They want, speed kills. And that's what Eddie Howe essentially is his tactic, is speed kills. If you've got Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes that can come in on that left-hand side, and realistically, he, as I've said before many times in this podcast, he squeezed blood out of the stone that is Jacob Murphy on that right-hand side last year. And now he's got Anthony Elanga in there. They're going to have that more two-pronged attack. Obviously, it's yet to be seen if Livramento comes back for them, if he does go to Man City or not. That'll be an interesting one to see what happens there. I like the player Anthony Elanga. Obviously, he came on and changed the game against us in that game.
Has Livramento been linked with Man City?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. He has been linked. But
here's a funny one for you. My father reckoned the only player he wanted to sign in the Premier League was Livramento. And I didn't see any of those links. That's about 6 months ago. He said that to me.
Yeah, damn good player for sure. But yeah, it's interesting. There will be more business to come in there. I don't like the Aaron Ramsdale signing. Not just because every team he signs for he gets relegated. I've seen no change in that. Like 4 or 5 years ago when he started to make waves, he was exciting goalkeeper. He was exciting along with Jordan Pickford's this world and so on. I just haven't seen much growth from him since. Great shot stopper or whatever, you block marbles on his day. But, from an all-around goalkeeper point of view, I don't know where his ceiling is. And that's, look, as I say, that's he could go on to do way better for Newcastle, but they also have Nick Pope there still. So they've got a really good like ourselves. They've got a really good goalkeeping room there as well. Sean Longstaff, I'll be honest, like 13.8 million for Sean Longstaff, 27 years of age, a lot of games in the Premier League, more games than me or you, Paddy. But Christ on a bike, like Emi Buendia should be capping over the 20 mark. You know, if
you would think so, yeah.
If that's the market, you know.
Sean Longstaff brings, as you say, he's a lot behind him. A lot of cash in the bank, a lot of Premier League appearances, Champions League as well. So I think that's a decent signing for Leeds at that price.
Me too.
That's just given what way the prices are at the moment. It's crazy, but it's absolutely bizarre, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but fair play. Like, I think he's going to be good for Leeds. I think he's going to really suit the Daniel Farke.
Yeah.
Like all action midfield. So fair play to him. Fair play to him indeed. And look, signing like Kelly on a free, if I'm not mistaken, they signed him, and basically they flipped him for 17.2 million. I'd much prefer to see Aston Villa do that than to be signing players for 7 and flipping them for 14 to 16 million afterwards, you know. And obviously, look, I'm quite aware of signing on fees and agents' fees, and all those go towards PSR and everything. Like Kelly wasn't a free, so to say, when it comes to PSR. Forest business, Paddy. Dan N'Doye, really interesting player. We saw him against us last year for Bologna. Nice player. I think will suit the Premier League down to the ground. Igor Jesus. People talk about him in Brazil as being a late bloomer, but somebody who is destined to get international caps and quite soon be fast tracked in there. Jair Cunha, the centre back, heads everything apparently as well. But again,
Still very young.
They're all very young. They're all untested within the league, and you know, like Forest have lost Elanga, they've lost Danilo. Danilo, like, it's someone they probably could afford to lose there. But look, it's going to be an interesting one for them. They will dip again. I think they have to dip in the striker department again. I think they have to. Like, if you're trying to catch lightning in the bottle 2 years or 3 years in a row with Chris Wood, like, they don't get European football without Chris Wood having a season of all seasons. And then he gets injured and they nearly falter towards the end. They drop from the Champions League spots down. I know they've got Igor Jesus. They must see an awful lot in him. I would say they'll probably double dip again because they can't seem to keep the Nigerian guy that signed from Union Berlin, Teo Ewoni, I think is how you pronounce it. Can't seem to keep him healthy either. So I wonder what they'll do in that department. Will they double dip there and get another centre forward? But again, like, and this, the reason I'm doing this exercise is when you go down through it, outside of the headline grabbers on Sky Sports, you know, other teams are buying players, but they're also losing players as well. And they're, I think a lot of teams, while they might be buying players, might be trading a small bit of water like ourselves as well, whereas we're kind of keeping our team together, which is, look, obviously the silver lining to the cloud of not signing players. And I would much prefer to sign players. Sunderland being absolutely great, brilliant. Like, if you're a Sunderland fan, you're waking up and you've morning wood every morning because you're wondering what the hell is happening. You know, who are we going to sign today? Like, they're flying it. Like, them, it must be brilliant off season for them, for the names they've been linked to it, and obviously coming from where they were in League One, and getting back to where they probably should be in and around the Premier League. Fair play to them. They've done a lot of good signings there. Lost Joe Bellingham, lost Tom Watson, two brilliant players. Arguably, are they better than some of the players that they've signed? I would say it's not even arguably. I would say yes, they are better than some of the players that they've signed. So,
do you see the two flags beside Joe Bellingham?
Yeah. Are you trying to say, Paddy? Are you trying to say that we could be seeing him in Irish squad too?
Of all the brothers in Ireland jerseys somewhere. One half of their family is Irish, so they are Irish qualified.
Yeah, and do you know what? Actually, Louis Barry might be someone we might see in the green. I'd say if rumors are to be believed, we might see maybe in September, but. It might be a reason for me to start watching Irish international football again. Now Spurs, Paddy. Spurs. Everybody is like, Spurs are buying players in the market. They're doing, Spurs are really grabbing it by the balls and going for it. And they're new manager, new Spurs, going to be back in the top 4. Spurs are going to lose probably the second best player of their Premier League era. And they lost their best player 2 years ago. Like, Son not coming back for Spurs is a massive, massive, massive hole for them to fill. And I know they've got Kudos.
I think it's more of a massive hole off the pitch at the moment than it is on the pitch. But I think his race has run at Premier League level, to be honest. I think it has for the last 18 months. So I'm not really surprised at that one. But I think they'll notice the tourists will start to drop away from Spurs, and that could be a huge thing for them.
I know people are saying the song was finished and so on. I think that Heung-min Son, as I say, a captain, and I just think that I think he's going to leave a massive hole at that club. I do. I think he could kicked on again. Had that injury season over with. Mohamed Kudus, straight line runner, tricky. Would have loved him on the right wing for Aston Villa. Again, he's coming into that right wing. Son played on the left-hand side. They've got Matthias Tell. Saw a few glimpses from him last year. They basically just made his signing permanent. They made Kevin Dancer's signing permanent.
But that Matthias Tell one must have been pre-arranged.
It was, yeah, it was.
It must have been an obligation to buy, because I'm not sure on the work that he's done that he has deserved the move. But
it was obligation to buy, yeah. And I think
because we were 35 million from what I've saw is a bit of a stretch. So fair play to Bayern Munich for sorting that out in advance.
Yeah, and like what I would say with regards to Tell is, look, he's only 20 years of age. Villa were linked with him as well last year, if I remember rightly. But from my memory, time will tell. But I think Spurs lumped a massive loan fee last year and essentially said we will be obligated to buy him, and more or less kind of split the payments into 2 years. So look, the French football rave about him as well. Like, he's been being talked about in very, very high circles there. The signing for Spurs is Vuskovic, the 18-year-old centre half that they bought from Split. Like, he is a wonder kid of wonder kids at centre half. He's managed right. If he's managed well, they'll be flogging Cuti Romero at the end of next year for whatever Atletico Madrid want to pay for him. And this guy will be taking the mantle at centre half there as well. I just really like him. I think he's really good. The limited bits I've seen of him, but people who are more knowledgeable than me talk about him in really elevated air as well. João Palhinha, 5 million euro loan from Bayern Munich. Didn't work out for him in Munich. We obviously know that he put his foot on everything, man, ball, and referee in the Premier League. So it's a bit of steel that they're probably going to need in there as well, and a bit more of a gangly player than they have in those positions too. So I think an interesting off-season. You take Palhinha out of it there prior to that, and it might sound mad, but they're replacing players that they're losing, because when we look at it here, you've got Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is gone. You would that's, I'm not going to say the same type of player, but you've got an upgrade and Palhinha coming in there. You've got 13.5 million coming back for Højbjerg from Marseille. You've got Son going out the door. You've got your flying winger coming in Kudos, that you can build on there. James Maddison now looks like he's probably going to be out for an elongated period of time. That's a huge blow to them too. Hopefully he hasn't done his ACL, but he went off injured last night and looked in very, very bad way. So interesting to see what happens with him. And they've lost the irreplaceable Timo Werner as well. All Spurs fans were delighted to see him go. We're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. West Ham have done less than nothing. They've only just made Tabido's transfer permanent. But this lad, watch the cross on this lad. El Hadj Malik Diouf. Very good crosser of the ball from left back. And he's had a meteoric rise from Slavia Prague now into the Premier League. really exciting. Really exciting. He'll probably play a left back for them at times, move into that left midfield role, maybe play a wing back if they ever go to a three at the back. But really nice player. And isn't Callum Wilson the most West Ham signing of all time? That is a West Ham signing. Free transfer, English striker who just always gets about 8 or 9 goals every year. Callum Wilson, everybody, step forward. He's just a...
I really would have preferred him to leave the Premier League, to be honest, because I still have fear when his name is mentioned. But I do think their best piece of business is the one underneath Callum Wilson. I think Kyle Walker-Peters is a brilliant transfer to get in on a free.
Mm-hmm. I forgot actually all about him. I forgot all about him coming in there. Very good. Yeah, very, very good player. For sure. We've been linked quite a lot with Lewis Orford. Just interesting to see him there. He's finally making his he's going to be promoted from the West Ham under 21s. Just wanted to bring him up there because we've been linked with him quite a bit. They've obviously lost Kudos. Aaron Cresswell is gone, has left them. You're probably seeing, that's why I was talking about Elhaj Malik Diouf probably starting at left back as well to kind of replace somebody like Aaron Cresswell. Michael Antonio, end of an era, him gone as well there. Danny Ings, as we know, gone. Fabianski gone. Kufel gone.
40 years of age, Fabianski,
yeah. Kurt Zuma gone. Carlos Soler gone. Evan Ferguson gone. Although Ferguson did less than nothing for them when he was there. It's again, look, we can look at players signing, but have they treaded water? Have they treaded water with some of the players they've lost as well? You know, Kyle Walker-Peters comes in for Kufal. I'm not sure is for a lot of these. I'm only asking questions. Yeah. I'm
not sure they're pushing the boat out for a team that has 60,000 odd people at every home game paying through the nose for tickets. There should be a lot more signings coming in there. I'm not sure the investment is what they would hope it is, but you'd have to worry about where they'd end up towards the back end of the season. So it'll be interesting.
I think so too. Wolves again made the Jurgen Strand-Larsen deal permanent. A real left-wing signing in Fer Lopez. Paid a lot of money for him, but a good player, a tricky player. John Arias, brilliant Club World Cup. David Muller-Wolf, who we saw at close quarters and who, be honest with you, we ripped to pieces in one of those games, if I remember rightly, when we played AZ. Both of those games, I think we played at AZ. He's gone and signed there as the left back as the replacement for Ryan Aït-Nouri and obviously Mateus Cunha, who pretty much had clocked out 10 games to go last year. He's gone and essentially has been replaced probably with the with the two guys you see here in Fer Lopez and John Arias. Two big names they've lost here. Nelson Semedo, right back, gone to Fenerbahce there. I would have taken him at Villa. Pablo Sarabia, another good playmaker for them as well, but obviously taking the bag in with Al Arabi there too. And no one else really of note. Craig Dawson retired more or less as well. So that'll be another kind of spiritual leader that is a hole in their team there as well. Joe Hodge, Irish defensive midfielder, gone to play with Tondela in the Portuguese league. If you're flicking through Eurosport and you come across the Portuguese league, well, there's your team that you can support there as well if you are of the Irish persuasion. So that's all the Premier League transfers they've got. We'll do this again towards the end of the thing, because at the end of the transfer window, and the only reason I did that tonight is because it's just really to ask the question. It's the longest winded question of all. Has everybody really improved? Are we kind of being smart and keeping our powder dry till later in the transfer window, or is everybody else doing the same? And that's probably something for everyone to stew on and answer in the comments.
Well, the big question is, are we keeping our powder dry, or do we not have the capability of spending? And that's generally the side that everybody's leaning on. So let's see what happens in the next few weeks, and it'll give us an indication of what we're at. But it certainly feels like we're hamstrung on the spending side. So obviously you don't want to show your hand to the opposition by telling your fans that were hamstrung. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes out and what comes out in the wash in 4 weeks' time when we're sitting on transfer window with the yellow ticker going across the bottom.
Like, we'll take Spurs, for example. I'm not sharing my screen anymore. We'll take Spurs, for example, there now. Take Spurs, for example. Mohamed Kudus, Matt Stells, Daniel Mallon. You know, like do we get in early an opportunity cost there for 18 million for Daniel Mallon? It's just like, obviously his resume doesn't compare anything to Mohamed Kudus for what Kudus has done in the Premier League since he came in. But what I'm saying is, like, can Mallon have a commensurate season from an output point of view if he's started at right wing? We've seen him hit the ground running so far this off season. You know, he scored a brilliant goal last night. You know, this is kind of what I'm getting at there. You know, that like the need to go out and just sign. While as much as I want it more than anybody else watching this podcast, I want to sign players. I want freshness, but so I'm checking myself more so than anything else, saying that, you know, are the club kind of going, Maatsen, Mallon, Onana, all have to be worked into the team some way, shape or form. They're considered signings. Maybe Tristan Rose considered like somebody who can make that jump up to be the backup right back. Is it perfect? No. But are they happy? Seem to be, you know. So it's we're not getting much. And with Unai Emery's conversation today, where he basically said that it's more about the structure that he's working on so far, and he's hoping to have more additions to the squad soon. You know, he didn't exactly fill me with massive confidence that there's going to be 4 people coming through the door between now and the end of the transfer window. But he was never going to come out and say one way or another, I suppose, with regards to what way we were looking. But yeah, interesting exercise, I think, just to go down and see, just to see, I suppose, what players teams have lost as well, not just what they've
said. You've managed to get us to an hour of this podcast. That you dropped that one on me when I said to you, "What are we going to talk about?" Just the last few weeks. All right,
just the last few weeks, exactly. Last 8 weeks, just the last 8 weeks, Freddie. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm the same. I'm delirious. I'm up since 3:30. We were away, as I said, for a couple of days, and my young lad didn't cope too well with unfamiliar surroundings. So he was awake at 3:30 looking to have a scrap with me. So I badly need to hit the cot soon myself. And thankfully we're back. Like, great crack away, great fun, brilliant to have the memories, and spent it with great people when we were out, when we were away for a few days. And we're going out foreign in a couple of weeks' time as well. But sometimes to get back and sleep in your own bed after being away is a needed necessity. Like, so I'm going to stay for myself to the bloody thing now when I get inside there. But thanks everyone for joining us. As Paddy said, we got an hour and 10 minutes more or less out of this, out of deliriousness more so than anything else. But thanks a million for that. It's probably going to be full on here on in from now until the season starts and onwards then. So stick with us. If you know of anyone that you think might enjoy listening to our ramblings, we will be here for them to listen to. But thanks a million to everybody. I know the comments were flying left, right and center. It's great to see you guys having conversations in the comments too. You know, it's fantastic. Keep it up in there. And also NordVPN, if anybody's interested in getting a VPN before the start of the season. Our link is in the bio as well there. And thanks so much to NordVPN for sponsoring this show.
To all our Irish listeners, I hope you have a lovely bank holiday Monday, which is why at 20 to 11 on a Sunday night, I'm having a little tipple. So those of you in the UK, enjoy work tomorrow. To the Irish people, enjoy your lie-in on Monday morning. You're probably working, Neil, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm off for the next week. Well, next few days. I'm supposed to be off for next week, but my missus never watches this podcast. I told her I'm back to work on Wednesday, so I've kept it open-ended. I can go back to work on Wednesday if I'm too stressed out from everything at home.
You do realize you're still lying. Hello?
Yeah, I know, but she never listens to this podcast anyway, so it's fine. She never listens to this podcast. I'm joking. I'm back to work on Wednesday. But we will be here for that game against, is it Marseille next? Marseille is the next game.
Marseille Saturday and Villarreal Sunday.
Oh, sorry, Roma, Marseille, Villarreal.
If it was the other way around, I would be on my way to Villarreal on Friday, and I'm raging because holidays are at a premium, and I can't take the Monday off. But I would have loved a trip to Villarreal. It's on my list, my very long list of places that I want to go to. So I might have to go there without Villa eventually.
Yeah. Well, look, we might draw them in the actually another Champions League team this year.
I'm crossing two things off my list, Neil. Seeing as you say your wife doesn't listen, mine doesn't either. We're going on holidays to the end of the month to Seville. And while I'm there,
great spot.
Sevilla and Betis are at home in the week. How lucky am I?
I've been to Seville, and everybody hold around for this. I've been to Seville, and where we stayed, I opened up my curtains, and the Betis Stadium was right there, and literally it was the gap. So as the ball comes around, there's a gap where it kind of goes down. I could see straight up the field. And
Nice.
This 3-star hotel that I was literally just a place to lay my head where I was going on the beer for the week before any kids came along. I got into the room, opened up and went, holy Magoli, this is going to be absolutely excellent. But yeah, gets warm there, Paddy. Gets warm in Seville. So stand in on
I love the heat.
Easters.
Absolutely love the heat. That's no problem. I'm just looking forward to seeing something different. And yeah, I think this season I might spend a bit of time doing short hops to see other things that were on my bucket list, because life is short and we don't know how short it's going to be. So we'll get out and enjoy it, get to a few Villa games, do a little bit of bouncing around to see new things. And that's my my goal for this season. And try not to be too down about everything that's happening, because I know it's tough. Life is tough anyway. But when you've got something outside of real life that you love, and things don't seem to be going the right way, it does hurt, and it hurts bad. So apologies for my rants and raves over the last few weeks. There hasn't been too many podcasts, thankfully, so you didn't have to listen to it. But it's, as we keep going back to, it's the most important thing of the least important things. So it does hurt when things aren't going my way for Aston Villa. They are obviously the first, the last of everything outside of work and real life and family and everything else. So I'm sure there's many more people in the comments and will listen back to this afterwards and say, yeah, I can relate to that. So anyway, full steam ahead for the next month. We'll be around until I disappear off to Seville and try and find that hotel room you were in. And
yeah. Just book it for the day that Betis are playing, because you literally the view was just incredible. Like could see everything that was going on. Oh, before I go as well, big shout out. Want to say it, Brendan Walsh in Dublin Zoo. If anybody is watches the zoo on RT, Brendan, you'll see Brendan on it. Went to the zoo yesterday and they put on a great show. And thanks a million to Brendan as well. He was very, very good to us. So yeah, Dublin Zoo, what a spot.
He's actually messaged me while we were on air. Imagine that.
And Brendan, I forgot to drop. Actually, do you know what? I just realized I forgot to drop that bag of t-shirts into you as well. I'll post them up to Reverend Brendan Walsh, care of Dublin Zoo. So they'll be winging their way to you as well. As soon as. Right, got to get out of here. Really quickly. This is turning into like a radio broadcast or something. We're thanking everybody in this, but thanks a million to everybody. We'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.